with you and a warm welcome to you from all of us here at Powerscourt with Kilbride. It's Sunday, the 31st of July, and in our scripture this morning we are reintroduced to the parable of the rich fool. But we also hear the words of Father Richard Rohr, beautiful words that talk about the voice of God in our lives. And this is the most important part of our service today. So we look forward to spending the next 15-20 minutes with you in this small square as we come together into the presence of Christ. And coming together into that presence, we pause for just a moment now to acknowledge Christ's presence with us today and always, wherever we may be. Then someone called from the crowd, "Teacher, please tell my brother to divide our father's estate with me." Jesus replied, "Friend, who made me a judge over you to decide such things as that?" Then he said, "Beware. Guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own." Then he told them a story. A rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. He said to himself, "What should I do? I don't have room for all my crops." Then he said, "I know. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll have room enough to store all my wheat and other goods, and I'll sit back and say to myself, 'My friend, you have stored away for years to come. Now take it easy. Eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, you will die this very night. Then who will get everything you worked for?' Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with God." The first question I have to ask when we consider our gospel reading this morning is, what was that man thinking of at all? If you read the Gospel of Luke just before the little part that we had this morning about the parable of the rich fool, you'll see that Jesus has been teaching spirituality to the people who are around him. Actually, if we think of the last 4 Sundays of Gospels, we'll hear just that. Jesus has taught us how to go out with nothing in his name, but how to be able to receive from people graciously, how to be able to shake the dust from our feet and move on, how to be able to connect with ourselves and with God like Mary did at his feet as opposed to Martha. And then finally last week, how to be persistent in prayer, whatever shape or form that takes for all of us. And out of the blue, this man asks him, "Master, would you mind sorting out a difficulty between myself and my brother to do with our land?" Was that man not listening at all or paying attention? Isn't it incredible to consider how much this world can draw us away from God? We often say it in this small square. The distractions, the weightiness of this world that pulls us down and takes us away from the voice of God. I want to share something really beautiful with you this morning, and I actually had to re-record my little reflection for today as a result of this popping into my inbox this morning, and I will be reading it in both our churches today as well. And it's a little reflection from that amazing priest, Father Richard Rohr, and I just wanted to read that for you now. So wherever you are this day, if you are in a place where you can close your eyes, I invite you to do so now as I read this piece called Listening to the Voice of God, in an attempt to remind us through Father Richard Rohr to put aside the worldly things that distract us from listening to this voice. This is the voice of Christ that we are listening for in our lives today. We must receive all the words of God tenderly and subtly, so that we can speak them to others with tenderness and subtlety. I would even say that anything said with too much bravado or overassurance, or with any need to control or impress another, is never the voice of God within us. If any thought feels too harsh, shaming or diminishing of others or ourselves, it is not likely the voice of God. Trust me on that. That is simply our egoic voice. Why do humans so often presume the exact opposite? That shaming voices are always from God, and grace voices are always the imagination. One holy man who came to visit me recently put it this way: we must listen to what is supporting us. We must listen to what is encouraging us. We must listen to what is urging us. We must listen to what is alive in us. I personally was so trained not to trust those voices that I think I often did not hear the voice of God speaking to me, or what Abraham Lincoln called the better angels of our nature. Yes, a narcissistic person can and will misuse such advice, but a genuine God lover will flourish inside such a dialogue. We must learn how to recognize the positive flow and to distinguish it from the negative resistance within ourselves. It can take years, if not a lifetime. If a voice comes from accusation and leads to accusation, it is quite simply the voice of accuser, which is the literal meaning of the biblical word Satan. Shaming, accusing or blaming is simply not how God talks, but sadly it is too often how we talk to ourselves and to one another. God is supremely non-violent, and I have learnt that from the saints and mystics that I have read and met and heard about, that many holy people cannot be wrong. If we can trust and listen to our inner divine image, our whole-making instinct, our true self, we will act from our best, largest, kindest, most inclusive self. There is a deeper voice of God which we must learn to hear and obey. It will sound like the voice of risk, of trust, of surrender, of soul, of common sense, of destiny, of love, of an intimate stranger, of your deepest self. It will always feel gratuitous, and it is this very freedom that scares us. God never leads by guilt or shame. God leads by loving the soul at ever deeper levels, not by shaming at superficial levels.
I can hear you call my name. I can hear you call my name. I can hear you call my name. Come to the table, cup runneth over. Come drink your fill and be well. Oh, I can hear you call my name. I can hear you call my name. Oh, I can hear you call my name. You come to the valley, come lay your head down, come rest your feet by the river of life. Come to the pasture, rest by the fire, rest as the wind blows over the plain. I can hear you call my name. I can hear you call my name. I can hear you call my name. Come to the pasture, lie by the river. Come drink your fill and be well. Come to the table.